We're here in Lubbock, Texas. Mitch Harper and Kyle Ireland with KSL Sports for BYU and Texas Tech. Jones AT&T Stadium is going to be the stage for the top 10 clash. 11 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Mountain. And then before the game, College Game Day, America's pregame show, top college football pregame. It's going to be an eventful day.
Yeah, 10 a.m. kick Mountain Time, Mitch. We've got BYU undefeated, Texas Tech with only one loss. You saw what came out earlier this week. I'm sure BYU fans saw it on social media. The playoff odds, BYU wins, they skyrocket up. Still okay if they lose, but Texas Tech, this is an important game for them if they hope to make the playoff. And you know, the energy around here, Mitch, has been exciting. You got a giant Texas Tech oil rig. You've got the College Game Day set behind us. We've seen people, you know, Raiderville was live outside of the stadium last night, and we had the chance to talk with Reese Davis and Desmond Howard about this matchup, and you know, they had a lot of good things to say to praise BYU and Kalani Sitake.
This is the setup for College Game Day here in Lubbock. They call this the green lot, the green path, green setup. Not a lot of green, really. It's a lot of brown, but this is what game day looks like the day before the big show. And you know, only the fourth time ever that BYU is going to be part of a College Game Day broadcast. They're 0-3 all time in these games. 2004 in Salt Lake against Utah, 2009 in Provo against TCU, and then 2020 that pop-up game with Coastal Carolina and Conway, South Carolina. But that's the set. They're going to have college football live on Friday. Pat McAfee's going to be over at that huge football complex here in Lubbock, which getting rave reviews, but this is the set. This is kind of like the pit where the students will be. It's going to be a lot of fun in here, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell everybody here in Lubbock is excited for this game. Haven't seen, you know, too many BYU fans yet, but I'm wondering, you know,
Haven't seen any.
They're going to flood in. We saw a few on the drive down, but we saw, you know, coming into Lubbock, we had, you know, a few Royal Blues in the hotel that I saw. But outside today, haven't seen too many. I wonder if the fans will be flocking in tonight for tomorrow's game. But you know, it's crazy seeing the RV with Saban and Herb Street, Reese Davis and Desmond Howard back there. You know, this is what college football is all about, Mitch. When you have a big time matchup, bringing out all the stops.
Yeah, getting hyped for game day. Desmond, Reese, Saban, Herbie. I don't know why McAfee's not on that bus. He needs to be on there. He needs to be on there shirtless. We need McAfee standing up on a chair getting shirtless for that. But all the sponsors of College Game Day around here, it's a pretty cool setup. And I think Lubbock is just really energized for this game. And I think this sort of matchup highlights the uniqueness of the Big 12. Who would in your wildest dreams would have thought BYU and Texas Tech would be playing a game with such high stakes? Heck, you'd be surprised that they'd ever be playing a game. This is BYU's first trip to Lubbock since 1940, but the energy for this game is going to be off the charts, and I think it's going to be a really good game. But you can see this setup. When College Game Day shows up to a game, Kyle, you just know it's a big-time game. It's a big-time environment with high stakes, and with the college football playoff on the line, man, what a great opportunity for BYU and for Texas Tech.
Yeah, I think that, you know, to this point of the season, this is BYU's biggest game. A lot of fans, you know.
Oh, hold on here, Kyle. Look at this. This is the Pat McAfee field goal setup. I can't wait for this.
This is the money-making machine right here.
What's the money going to be on the line for this one, you think? What's he paying out these days? $750,000, $1 million? Like, this is going to be epic. Are you going to be the one kicking? Could you kick this field goal?
I definitely could not make it.
You know,
especially if the money was on the line, the nerves would get going, and you know, I'd probably shank it wide left.
Fun fact: 10 years ago, BYU had a media combine clinic before the spring game in 2015. I actually kicked a field goal, and it just hit the upright.
How far out?
It was from about 30.
Pretty good.
It was in front of a crowd, and there were some cheers. Like, I wish there was footage. I mean, it was 10 years ago. It feels like a lifetime, but this is the field goal setup for Pat McAfee's kick. I would assume here all the students will probably line up here for this one. McAfee's been awesome, I think, on game day. I think what he's provided to that broadcast has been awesome to see. But yeah, this is the layout for this College Game Day setup. You got people lined up to get into the pit, I would assume, here for Lubbock. And then you got all these bars, other food tents, tailgating setup. This is going to be an electric atmosphere for BYU and Texas Tech. I can't wait for this one.
Yeah, I think that, you know, a lot of fans might be feeling some nerves about this game just because of how good this Texas Tech offense and defense combined are. BYU has not faced a defense like the Red Raiders, and it's going to be interesting to see how Bear Bachmeier does in, an environment like this where these crowds, they've been great this season, Mitch, but Texas Tech, you can tell they're amped. They're ready for this one.
We got to come over here too. This is, I think, where they have the little pointer, where College Game Day has that little thing, the pointer where they're looking at the breaking down film.
You want to pull it to the straight?
Saban and the crew are always breaking down film right here. This is what that looks like.
Little 10-foot telestration.
What do you think the film breakdown for BYU is going to be when they shuffle through a bunch of questions and then break down certain film? It's got to be Bear Bachmeier, right?
It's going to be the hurdle. It's going to be the hurdle against Utah.
Okay.
That one's going to get broken down.
Maybe
right?
Maybe the 22-yard touchdown against Utah. That was iconic.
Yeah. Bear's on the loose, man. He's been on the loose all season.
They probably won't play that because that's a Fox call, but that's the setup there. That's pretty cool, where they have those pointers and then they ask some questions to the crew. Let's see what else they got over here. This is kind of behind the cameras here for College Game Day. This is what you probably don't see on the TV, but that's what it looks like for College Game Day here in Lubbock. Pretty cool. I think it's also awesome too that the Big 12 gets back-to-back College Game Days. Because the Big 12, I think, is looking to really kind of elevate its brand with this 16-team conference. And I really believe these two programs could be the two bell cows. I asked Desmond Howard and Reese Davis about that. Des kind of was a little bit more hesitant about that. But Reese, I think, he said everything's going to change, rosters, portals, and that's true. But I think the commitment of BYU and Texas Tech, why not that annually with the way that they're committing to their programs and the coaching and the retention, these could be two programs that annually are always in the mix. Arizona State's in there too, Utah. This is a big time game that could be a big game in years to come whenever it lands on the schedule matrix for the Big 12.
Yeah, I think the one thing that caught my eye about what they were, doing to preview this game was talking about, both sides of the ball. They were talking about, matchups to look for. And the one word that Desmond and Reese both used to describe these teams was physical. Like, it's going to be a physical game tomorrow, Mitch. And obviously, Bear Bachmeier is a physical quarterback running the football, but that defense from Texas Tech is outstanding. And, both of these defenses, they force a lot of turnovers, tackling machines. I think that the linebackers are going to be awesome on both sides of the ball tomorrow. And I really think it does come down to who's going to play the cleanest game. That really kind of comes down to a lot of the big matchups, who plays clean, who doesn't turn the ball over. But I think it's going to be an outstanding matchup. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how BYU handles it because, earlier this week at practice, talked to Bodie Schoonover and the pressure that is on the team right now, being 8-0. Like he said that, they recognize it, they feel it. And, are they going to let those nerves get to them when they have, a big crowd that's hyped and ready for a primetime game tomorrow morning?
From Lubbock, Mitch Harper, Kyle Ireland. It's going to be an epic game. BYU and Texas Tech, playoff stakes, Big 12 stakes, all on the line here in Lubbock.